What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new football news video, and we have to talk about Manchester City. When will they finally be banned for 115 breaches of financial fair play rules? They are dragging this legal process out as much as possible because they know they are guilty, otherwise they would cooperate with the Premier League investigation. And Adam Crafton is reporting that Manchester City's commercial revenue for the 22-23 season, so last season, is once again record-breaking and almost £100 million more than Liverpool's commercial income for the 2021-22 accounts. Liverpool haven't published their accounts for last season, but 2 seasons ago Liverpool had a similar season to Man City. We went all the way to the final of the Champions League, the League Cup, the Carabao Cup. We won the FA Cup and the League Cup. We lost the Champions League final and we came second in the Premier League, but Man City had a pretty similar season in terms of commercial revenue, so they earned more than £100 million more, even though they have probably 1/10 of a fan base of Liverpool, maybe even less. And also, did you know you can get a Manchester City ticket for their Champions League match if you ever went to one Champions League game before? At Liverpool you have had to attend many previous European games if you want a ticket, and even then you are entered into a lottery and there are so many people wanting to get Liverpool tickets. Man City can't even sell out their own stadium for all of their games. So in this video we will take a detailed look at why this is a problem that Manchester City have most of their commercial revenue linked with, their owners, Abu Dhabi and the United Arab Emirates. Many of the people who are employed by Manchester City, basically they have business links to several sponsors. Khaldoon and Mansour's siblings are on the board of some of the sponsors. How shady and corrupt that is. And the new Premier League rules after the Newcastle United takeover means that more scrutiny should fall on Manchester City and they must be investigated, and they are investigated. So the report for Manchester City's financials, and I said that we will take a look at the links to their sponsors, how shady it is, in the second part of the video. But first let's talk about their financial record for last season. They were announcing revenues of £713 million of revenue, which is a new Premier League record. Absolutely blows my mind how Man City, pretty much a small club in terms of the Premier League and the global level, still are recording continuously highest revenues ever recorded in the Premier League. They doubled last year's £41 million profit, got £80 million profit last season. And guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and please support my videos by subscribing to my Patreon. You get great benefits, additional content, and a lot of career mode goodness. Link is in the video description, or you can make a one-time donation. Click the thanks button and you help me continuing to make these videos. Thank you so much for your awesome support. And I already made a video on a newly formed partnership at Man City with a betting company, 8xBet, which was like a shell company. It didn't even exist, and the Daily Mail and other journalists did investigations on that. It's a Curacao-based online gambling company's background is very shady, and Man City have sponsorship deals with them and bookmakers Leo Vegas and others as well. What absolutely blows my mind is this is now the third season where Manchester City's revenues are much higher than Manchester United's revenues, who have of course a much bigger fan base and much bigger reach globally. Manchester City's wage bill also increased. They posted an incredible £423 million of wages was spent last season. That went up significantly because the previous year it was 354 million. That's almost a 20% increase on their wage bill. Of course, they got a lot of profit from player sales. They sold some players for big money to, of course, Arsenal and other clubs as well. 122 million pounds. Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko went to Arsenal, Raheem Sterling went to Chelsea, and that was a really big amount of money paid to Manchester City. And actually the official published Manchester City accounts mention the 115 charges, because under the heading of risks and uncertainties, Man City note the charges leveled against them by the Premier League and reiterate their confidence that they have not breached any regulations. But then why are they not cooperating with the Premier League investigation? Why are they trying to drag this on as much as possible in the courts? That's of course it pretty much answers itself, that question. And Man City have so many sponsors linked back to their owners and to the United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi in particular. For example, on January the 6th 2022, the Man City website promoted the partnership with Masdar, a renewable energy and sustainable development company, by highlighting the launch of a campaign aimed at raising awareness around climate change. What the city press release did not mention, however, is that Masdar is owned by the Mubadala investment company, which is a sovereign wealth fund of Abu Dhabi, the same country that pretty much owns Manchester City, even though they are denying it. The president of Abu Dhabi, or the president of United Arab Emirates, is the brother of the Man City owner. So I mean, you can't even get much closer than that to state ownership. It's absolutely ridiculous how not more journalists are talking about it continuously, and how the Premier League is not doing nothing about it. But it's because of dirty politics, because the United Kingdom has ties to the Middle East region, very, very big contracts and very big money in the government, going back and forth with these regions, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates. So the Premier League, because of government pressure, allowed the takeover of Man City and then later Newcastle United as well. So Khaldoun Al-Mubarak is the chairman of Man City. He does not sit on the board of Masdar, this sponsor, but his sister is on the board of this investment company. I mean, how curious is that? What a coincidence. I mean, can you tell me seriously that this company, and this is just one of many companies, is paying the market going rate to sponsor Manchester City? And also, can you believe that they would just sponsor Man City because they wanted to, and not because the sister of the Man City's chairman is sitting on the board of this company? I mean, it's so blatantly obvious that many football fans are now getting more and more disillusioned with the Premier League just letting this happen. So let me know what do you think about all of this in the comments below. What should be, in your opinion, an appropriate punishment for Manchester City continuously breaching financial fair play rules, state ownership rules and everything else? And it gets even worse, because 3 weeks later Man City unveiled another partnership with an Abu Dhabi company. Aldar Properties became the club's official real estate partner, and Mubadala, which is run by Al Mubarak, is a continuing shareholder in Aldar Properties, along with other state-owned companies, which include the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, Abu Dhabi National Hotels, and the National Corporation for Tourism and Hotels. The chairman of Aldar's board is Mohammed Khalifa Al Mubarak, who is also the chair of the Department for Culture and Tourism in Abu Dhabi. Wow, I mean, this is just absolutely blows my mind how the Premier League is letting this happen. Well, money talks, and apparently these guys who have unlimited money, they can do pretty much anything, because they can bribe anyone, they can buy anyone, they can buy the referees, they can buy Premier League decision makers, anyone really can be in their pocket. It's like the mafia or the Wild West. I'm not sure what to compare it to. I mean, imagine how much corruption is in the government. Now imagine how much corruption is in football, which is not even as serious as the government. And there is a lot of corruption in almost every government around the world, but this just shows that the Premier League is corrupt, and there is a lot of corruption in that organization as well. And there was another sponsorship on January the 4th, a new luxury hotel partnership between Manchester City and the Emirates Palace complex in Abu Dhabi. Pep Guardiola even was part of a recent promotional video filmed at the hotel, and he posed for photographs with children training as part of the Manchester City scholarship program in the Middle East. And these are just 3 examples of Manchester City's 49 global and regional partnerships. But this demonstrates a pattern that through conversations with numerous industry sources and close examination of publicly available information, Adam Crafton has said that he examined all 49 of their sponsorships, and they have identified numerous companies via personal businesses or directorships which can be connected to individuals who sit on the board of the City Football Group, who of course own Manchester City. Many of those relate to business interests in Abu Dhabi, but others include a sponsorship agreement with one company which has since named the Man City chief executive himself, Ferran Soriano, onto its own board as an independent director. Another firm listed Man City Football Group director Egan Dorban as a board member. There is nothing legally wrong with any of these relationships, but what is of interest is how having such wealthy and well-connected owners opens up opportunities. This has attracted the attention of the Premier League and Man City's rival clubs, of course, and it just feels wrong, even though maybe legally it's okay. I mean, slavery was legal at one point, that didn't make it okay. And I know that's a terrible comparison, but if something is legal, that doesn't mean it's right, and it should be legal and it should be allowed. Man City shouldn't be allowed to have sponsors who are directly linked to their owners and to a whole country, which are of course funding the Man City operations. The problem is the scale at they are doing this, and they have been doing this for the last like 10-15 years. It's just ludicrous and unprecedented, and it makes a mockery of all the other clubs who are following the rules. I don't even want to get started on the Newcastle ownership situation, because that is so blatantly obvious that the government gave a nudge to the Premier League that they should and they have to accept Newcastle's new owners as Saudi Arabia, because otherwise the UK government would have lost billions of dollars worth of contracts with Saudi Arabia for weapons, for weapon contracts. So that's why I'm saying that the politics is so dirty and rotten to the core, and the Premier League also is linked with these dirty politics as well. Now let's talk about football, because another Manchester City player withdrawn from international duty, and that makes him a doubt for the Man City Liverpool game. Matheus Nunes was declared unfit for the 2 games for Portugal against Liechtenstein and Iceland. The player will no longer travel to Zurich. It is late with the rest of the national delegation. That was reported by Fabrizio Romano. So hopefully Man City will have a fair few injured players, but Matheus Nunes is not really a regular starter for Man City. He won't be a really big miss for Manchester City. And apparently Liverpool are interested in Lloyd Kelly, who is a 25-year-old defender playing for Bournemouth. He can play centre-back and left-back. He's left-footed central defender mainly. And as a homegrown English talent, he could be a perfect fit for Liverpool's side. I don't want to see him signed as a long-term Matip replacement, but as a good squad player, I think it would be a decent signing. Liverpool will have to pay between 25 and 30 million pounds, but I think we should get a much better centre-back who costs a little bit more. Somebody like Hincapie or Inacio, they are playing for Leverkusen or Sporting. Those would be my choices. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but I think Liverpool should be shopping at for a much better centre-back than this guy. Also, Konate was supposed to join up the France squad, but he has been ruled out of international duty as well. A France statement read, Konate was a victim of a small muscle injury to his left hamstring with Liverpool in the Europa League against Toulouse during the warm-up. Konate was unable to play the weekend game against Brentford. His injury requiring approximately 2 weeks of treatment. So Konate will not play for France, and hopefully he will be back for the Man City game or maybe after the Man City game. Gomez also picked up an injury, so he couldn't face Brentford, but thankfully we recorded a 3-0 victory, which was very, very convincing. And Thomas Frank praised Mo Salah, saying, I don't actually know if he gets enough praise, Mo Salah. Off the top of my head, there is a chance he's the best player in the Premier League, potentially, in terms of goals and assists. What a level! He must be one of the best defensive players in the world. Like, not top 10, but top 3. So when you have a player of that quality against you, you just know there is a problem. The second goal, we are not doing well enough defensively, but the first one is a clear signature, trademark Liverpool attack. We lose the ball, counter-attack, bang, into Salah goal. But then not every player scores from that situation. That just shows his Salah's quality. And I like Thomas Frank and the way that he praised Jurgen Klopp and Salah and Liverpool as well. It's just nice to hear as a Liverpool fan, of course. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.